Normally when I start a review of a new kit, I'll start with the box top or the instructions. But here we have a test shot. This is a very late production test shot for the new Revell Shackleton in 1/72nd scale. Now, I hear you ask, we've had a Shackleton already. Airfix released one a couple of months ago, but they haven't released the AEW2, and in my view, this is one of the most interesting variants. Now, the detail on this kit is sublime. It certainly seems to be a bit more detailed than its rival, but we'll have a look at some of the real nice details as we go along. But I will start with the riveting. Now, the Shackleton is well known for the large amount of riveting on the fuselage, 10,000 rivets flying in formation. But here, it is recessed detail, but it is absolutely beautifully done. And there are loads and loads of rivets. I'm hoping they're catching the light. I really like that. We also have a detail bomb bay, which on this variant you won't see much of, and positional control surfaces, like the ailerons that you can see on the right hand corner here. The wings show an equal level of detail. In particular, back to those control surfaces, we have the really nice recessed detail, but we also have this for the flap bays. Really nicely done. You see, flaps, quite a lot of structure in there, and amazingly not a single mould release mark, which is really impressive. Also on the engines, yeah, that is actually hollowed through. Again, really nicely done. This kit is really starting to impress me. Now, the tailplanes do feature the separate control surfaces. Now, when this kit was displayed at Telford, the one that was made up at Telford had quite a large amount of anhedral on it. No, that was a mistake when it was built, probably without the instructions. They are totally flat, which as it should be. Here we have the rear fuselage sections. Now, the way this kit has been split, yes, there are definitely going to be more variants coming along. I actually think this kit can be made into an MR3. The way it's been split up, it's certainly going to be a possibility. Internal detail, well, on this section you have got some. It's actually the detail that would be directly visible opposite the open door, though that's it, you don't get any of the cruise stations, but that realistically on this is not going to be seen. Now, I've actually been in the back of one of these Shackletons, and I will say that this area is normally covered with a baize green cloth that looks very similar to snooker felt. So they just give you a quick little tip there, not what you'd expect to find in this area. Here we have the undercarriage bay and inner wing nacelles and wheels. Now, the wheels do feature quite prominent tread pattern. Now, I'll see if I can zoom in on this. It's actually quite obvious that there's quite a lot of tread pattern on there. I'm not quite so sure about that, but I'll have to check my references. But what we have got, again, is some beautifully moulded parts. Again, love the way those exhaust pipes have been done. Really nice. And again, rivets. Sound like a frog. Now, for 1/72nd scale, you do get a lot of detail. The cockpit is really nicely done. You have these nice thin louvers, which will fit onto the engine intakes that we've already seen, the hollowed out areas. Propellers, commendably thin. Of course, you're going to get 8 propellers. This has 4 sets of contra-rotating propellers. Now, my only disappointment here is there is no markings for the red and red stripes that are at the end of the props, and they're not on the decal sheet, so you're left to do those yourself. Don't like that bit. I'm not that keen. I'm glad I'm not going to be building it. I'd never get all 8 exactly the same. Maybe something for the aftermarket to have a think about when they bring out their sheets for it. Engine faces, again, you're not going to see much of the engine, but yeah, what you have, there's just the engine face. You've got no detail behind that. Maybe worth blanking that off or adding some detail, but you're not going to see a lot of it through those 8 contra-rotating props. Really well done again. Now, these are the parts that are specific for the AEW variant that we're reviewing here. So we have bomb bay doors, and the front section, again, a mix of rivet and smooth detail here. The ray dome was fiberglass, so we wouldn't have any detail on it, and Revell have got that perfectly. The open bomb bay will obviously be on future variants as they're released. Here we have the clear parts. These are super clear. Now we are actually missing two off our sprue. As I say, this is a test shot. It has been much handled. It isn't in proper boxing. I actually do have both of those two missing parts, so it won't stop us building the model up. But it is absolutely, you know, first rate moulding here. It's super clear. Can really set this model off. Now the decal sheet. Really comprehensive. You've got all the bright yellow ring walkways. You have markings for two AEW Shackletons, both from number 8 Squadron, the only squadron that actually operated the type. The stencils are really nicely done. Really nicely done. Markings, let's say two options. Now, the Shackletons used by 8 Squadron had their aircraft named after the different characters from the children's television series Magic Roundabout in the UK. And the first option from 1973 is Mr. Rusty. Decal number 12 is actually the cartoon character. And over here we have Zebedee. And that's actually at the very end of the Shackleton's life. The nice seat belts, instrument panels. You know, you've got everything you need there. I do wish they'd just put those red and white wing propeller stripes on there. That would have made this absolutely perfect. Really nice printed decal sheet. And what I'm particularly pleased to see is that they've managed to print the very fine white border around the red letters absolutely perfectly. That was always going to be a challenge for the decal manufacturer to manage that. So a really nice decal sheet. At this point I would normally show you the instructions, as this is a test shot. We haven't got them. I have been sent them, and I will say they are very different from Revell. I'm not sure what quality of paper they're printed on, but they have a light blue background which really makes the images stand out. They're much more in CAD style, computer style, which you're seeing a lot from Japanese manufacturers, and they do look very easy to read. A big improvement on what we've had from Revell in the past. As I say, I haven't got them unfortunately, so I can't show you these. I've only got a computer program, but yeah, they would be a big improvement. Now, release. As I'm writing this, it's the first week of December. The kit was supposed to be in the UK in December, but the fact that we haven't got the instructions, we haven't got the box art, seems to indicate that this might slip into the early part of next year. But it is going to be well worth the wait, and is going to give Airfix a real run for their money. I love this kit. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. It's going straight out for a reviewer to build, and I'm hoping that we will have it in the issue of Scale Aviation Modeler International on sale in about 4 weeks' time. There you go, Alec. Nothing like a challenge. Our thanks to Revell for supplying us with this early test shot, and it is available, will be available eventually, from many good model shops around the world.